I messaged Jason to remind him. I haven't heard back.
Okay, all right. I don't know if we've had anybody that wants to speak to us. Brianne, have you had anybody come forward and say they want to address us?
No, just that original email that you had sent, but then they didn't follow up with me.
Okay, all right. Well, okay, so before we adopt the agenda, what I'm going to recommend is we do it in a two-step process. We've already at the last meeting, we've discussed most of these routes. So the opportunity is if we have any questions about them or any changes we want to make to the routes that were recommended that we do it, and it'll come. And then we make a further motion that the recommendations be forwarded to council for the, I don't know, it'll be up to Brian, but I would suggest for the November 2nd committee, the whole meeting, and we'll get it done that way. Now, of the recommendations under item 5, there's 2 that haven't been pre-discussed. We haven't talked about Bob Cajun and we haven't talked about Janaville. We haven't actually discussed them. But I was hoping that if we had if some of the public had wanted to be involved, that they might address that if they had concerns, but it doesn't appear that they have. So with the agenda, with the modifications I've just suggested, if everybody understands what they were, can I have a motion to adopt the agenda as amended? Moved by Carolyn, seconded by Don. All those in favor? And that motion's carried. All right. Well, 5 point. Okay, so I need a motion to adopt sorry. I need a motion. Do we have any declarations of pecuniary interest? Hearing none, if one should come up, would you please advise me, and we'll make the appropriate adjustments. Item number 4, the adoption of the minutes of the September 13th meeting. Moved by Tracy, seconded by Don. Is there any errors that you've noticed there that you want fixed? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? And that motion is carried. Okay, so the first discussion we had under public discussion for proposed routes was the Pontypool area connection to the Victoria Rail Trail. The recommendations that we made at the last meeting were Telecom Road from Wilmont Road to Porter Road, and Porter Road from Lifford Road to the VRTC. Do we have any alterations, any further comments we need to make? Go ahead, Tracy.
I do have one concern with that, because Wilmont is to Telecom, and then you have to go across 35 to get to Telecom.
Okay.
The bulk of the users and traffic seem to be in this rural, like in our little urban area of Pontypool. So maybe, this is a pilot trial. Maybe as a first step for Pontypool would just be to take out that crossover on 35 and focus on Telecom to Porter.
Okay, so and take out Porter Road from Lifford Road to the VRC?
No.
Oh,
So
okay.
just, I don't know, maybe Carolyn or Don, just because you guys maybe have some connections down here when it comes to users, but I don't know, you guys might know better than me about that 35 connection, if it would be an issue.
So are you asking about the connection from 35, or are you asking about crossing 35? Just want to be sure I'm
crossing 35, and just for membership.
I don't off the top of my head know members specific to those roads.
Okay.
I'm just pulling up a map here to kind of take a look.
Okay.
Just
Well, while you're doing that, I see that Peter has joined us. So welcome, Peter.
And Jason's trying to get in too. He's just
Okay.
having computer trouble. go ahead and continue talking about while I pull up a map and look at it.
Okay, well, I haven't got Peter on audio yet. I don't know whether he's quite with us or whether he's still trying to get in.
So why I bring that up is the MTO made that announcement this year about, closing down the illegal trail down 35, right? Because of it being their highway. So obviously riders down in this area are, looking for alternate ways to get to the trail system because they have used 35 for 30 some years, basically. So I'm a little bit concerned about that crossing at 35. If we just want to, these are all trial routes, if it works, it works. If we need to fix it, we fix it, right? Basically. So it was just a thought that I had.
Okay, and now's the time now's certainly the time to deal with it. So how would you word that, Tracy?
I'm thinking that you just go telecom to Porter to Lifford.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at the map. So if we said telecom from Highway 35
Yes.
to Porter,
Okay,
that allows that connection from that little subdivision there off of telecom. And yeah, if we go from Highway 35 over to Porter Road, that serves the purpose for the trial period, and that there's no crossing over Highway 35 there.
okay. I see Jason's coming on. I'll just bring him up to speed, and then now, Peter, are you there? Brianne, do you know if
How about now?
okay, I can hear you now. Okay.
Yeah, just some technical difficulties with my computer this morning.
Not a problem. Okay, so where we are is we're in item number 5. We're going through them. And we're doing 5.1, the Pawnee Pool area connection to the Victoria Rail Trail. The recommendations have changed slightly, but we haven't had a motion on it yet. So the recommendation currently is Telecom Road from Highway 35 to Porter Road. Is that correct?
Yeah. Then it'll go to Lifford, which connects you right to the Victoria Rail Trail.
Okay, all right.
And,
Okay.
and like I said, it's a trial, right? We are seeing if that works, and then we can, expand or change based on, what kind of data we collect from the area as well.
Yeah,
All right.
I don't disagree with that.
All right. So
Okay.
Jen or Brian, do you have any comments? Did you want to jump in, or you're going to say it when you got something to say?
Nothing critical from me. I just wanted to continue to flag that Highway 35 is obviously under NTO jurisdiction. They do have requirements or restrictions within their their area of jurisdiction there. So when we say Highway 35, there's some concern with the expectation that people can drive on 35 and then access Mountain Horde Road from 35.
Okay,
And
so
I just want to be very clear that we're not authorizing anybody to drive on Highway 35 or within their right of way.
all right.
So
Yeah.
maybe alter that, not from 35, let's say John Street to Telecom. Because John Street meets up with Telecom
Okay,
before 35.
Yeah, and there's
Okay.
only about 100-foot distance from 35 to John Street or something like that. So that'll
Yes.
be fine.
Yes.
But just to clarify, they can, when we get to other areas, like where we have up in the north, the MTO does allow an off-road vehicle to cross on a 90-degree angle across a highway. Not in this case, we're not doing that here. I'm just saying that is part of the Highway Traffic Act.
okay. All right, so what I have right now is I have I haven't got a mover or a seconder, but I've got a recommendation that we open up, I'll get this right yet, Telecom Road from John Street to Porter Road, and Porter Road from Lifford Road to the VRTC.
Yes.
All right, can I have a mover and a seconder?
I'll move that.
All right, moved by Carolyn, seconded by Tracy. All those in favor?
I'm in favor.
Thank you, Peter. And just as an addition to the, now, Brian, is November the 2nd a realistic target for this to come back to committee of the whole?
I will try. I'm currently working on about 6 other reports as well, Pat. So I'm a little bit bogged down trying to get this forward. But if I don't get it, if I'm able to get it to the November 2nd committee of the whole meeting, there are no other committee of the whole meetings for the rest of the year. So I will target the November, I think it's the 17th or whatever it is, council meeting. So we'll do what we can, but can't promise anything at the moment.
Okay, so do you want us to put just leave that part blank and not put a date on it?
I'd be okay with that. Sure.
Okay.
Or the next available, something along those wordings.
Okay, so just as an addition to your motion to the mover and seconder, if we can say, and to be brought forward to council at the first available meeting. Does that work?
Yep, I'm in agreement.
Okay. And did I call the question? All those in favor? And that motion.
I'm in favor. Yep.
Okay, thanks, Pete. Okay. And we had nobody, Peter, just for your information and Jason's information, we had nobody make a request to give us a deputation, and that was the purpose of actually splitting it up this way. And there were no requests for deputations. So the second item on the list is the Omimi area connection to the Victoria Rail Trail. The current recommendation, the way it stands right now, is Sturgeon Road North from Highway 35 to Beaver Road, Heights Road from Beaver Road to Mount Orb Road, Mount Orb Road from how am I going to word this? Because I am going to change it if you don't mind. From 100 meters east of 35 to 100 meters west of Highway 7. I think that will send the message out that we're not recommending traffic on 7 and 35. I think that will capture that question, hopefully. Crosswind roads from Heights Road to Trailhead. Hogsback Road from Mount Orb Road to the Ski Hill Road. Do we have any comments?
I'm not sure. Don, can you add any comment on this? This is in your kind of area.
You got to turn your noise on there.
Got me now?
Gotcha now.
Sorry, I didn't realize that it unmuted me here. Yeah, I apologize. Yeah, speaking with, I have been speaking with Councillor Ashmore because he got a flood of calls, I guess, from the Omimi area about this. And I don't see any problems with what we have here. Suggestion, I'm not sure, Carolyn, if you had the map up that area. Crosswind actually runs over, I believe, to Post Road, and it dead ends. It only goes
yes, it does. You're correct.
It only goes one more concession. So I didn't know whether adding that to that far would make any difference for anyone on that area. So then it would cover all of Crosswind. It's it's not a big issue, but
no, but there's no reason why we can't make it either.
Yeah.
So if you're going to suggest that, go ahead and suggest it, and we'll have a discussion on it.
Alrighty, I would just continue. I would just add that it would be all of Crosswind Road, really.
Okay, so just Crosswind Road, because it starts at Heights Road.
It starts at Heights and it only goes over to Post. I think it's
okay.
It's
Right.
3 concessions long, maybe, Carolyn, there across?
Yeah, it basically Lilac Road, Old Mill Road, and then it ends at Post Road.
Correct.
Okay. And where am I at? Okay, and Hogsback Road from Mount Orb Road to Ski Hill Road.
Yeah.
And that recommendation be brought forward to the committee, or be brought forward to council, I guess, at the first available meeting.
Pat, a quick question is Brian. So here again, through this, through 5.2, there's discussion about Sturgeon Road South to 7, crossing 7 to Beaver Road. So again, I recognize that is, we're crossing the highway there, but is there any contemplation by the task force to reach out to the MTO to have conversation about enabling ATVs or ORVs through that area and crossing their infrastructure?
Well, okay, to first answer your question, the easy answer, of course, is no. The task force hasn't reached out. I suppose as far as asking that question, it would be more appropriate for that to come from city staff. And then if that was an issue, then the city staff could bring that to either the task force or to council. But I certainly didn't anticipate as a member of the task force, because we're just an advisory body. I didn't anticipate as a member of the task force reaching out directly to the MTO.
And that's fine. But that's fine, Pat. I understand that. So I guess my, a bit of guidance would be that before we finalize this resolution and recommendation or any kind of recommendations to council, that either staff be advised or requested to go initiate that conversation, because it's kind of a moot point if for some reason the MTO doesn't want that crossing at that location. Carolyn's correct. There is provisions within the Traffic Act to cross at 90 degrees. It still requires, conversation and approval from the MTO to do that. So,
If I may, Brian, they're concerned at the Heights Road and Highway 7 crossing?
I don't know if they're concerned about anything, to be honest, because we haven't had any communication with what we're proposing here.
Okay.
So the changes with Bill 107, though, when it came down, and I realize that it doesn't apply to this, but when Bill 107 came down, there was nothing in that said, and I'm talking about municipalities around us, nothing in that said that the MTO had to approve crossing provincial highways in other areas where the roads have been opened. So although I'm not saying we shouldn't inquire, I'm just saying there's no requirement to inquire. The same as when we opened, roads in the north, there was no consultation with the MTO to cross Highway 35 up in the north. Halliburton County is the same. They opened all roads, but there was no consultation with MTO about crossing Highway 35 anywhere. It's just they go by the Highway Traffic Act. So.
Yeah. Jason, go ahead.
I'll agree with Carolyn. I think any kind of, you're asking a question that doesn't need to be asked, and in doing so, you're opening yourself up to being bound by their answer. Okay. There's no requirement for any kind of permission to be given. It's already been given, kind of thing. So, I think asking is just kind of, you're asking to be allowed to do something they've already told you you're allowed to do.
All right. Now, please correct me if I'm wrong. My current understanding on the recommendation is that the recommendation is the motion as currently amended, and that we not seek permission from the MTO. We just don't go down that road. And Brian, I don't think that stops you as a member of staff from having that conversation. It just doesn't form part of the recommendation and slow down the process. That's all. Does that work for you?
Again, so we're as a member or whatever as a piece to the advisory of this task force, that would be my recommendation. If the task force does not want to reach out to the MTO, I'll defer that decision to the task force.
Okay, all right. All right. Now, Brianne, were you able to keep up with all those changes, or did you want me to go through them again for you?
I have them. Thanks, Pat.
Okay, okay. Can I have a mover and a seconder? A move by Don, seconded by Jason. All those in favor?
Here.
And that motion's carried. Okay. Item 5.3, the Lindsay area connection to the Victoria Trail. Thunderbridge Road to the trailhead, and Ken Reed Park to the Ken Reed Park Road to the trailhead. Do we have any comments on that? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. And that'd be recommended to council, and that staff bring it forward at the first available meeting.
Sorry, Pat, I wasn't quick enough there.
Yeah.
Similar to our caveat that we put in the previous recommendation about Highway 35, do we need something in this one as well related to, or is this all of Thunderbridge Road?
This is all of Thunderbridge Road, right from, I think it's the Otmar Road.
Otmar on the far side.
Yeah, Otmar on the far side, right through. Yeah. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Don, seconded by John. All those in favor? And that motion's carried. Okay, the next one on the 5.4 is the Cameron area road, the Cameron area connection to the Victoria Rail Trail. And the recommendations coming out of the last meeting were Poles Road from Cameron Road to Ranches Road, Ranches Road from City Road 121 to Long Beach, Long Beach Road from Highway 35 to County Road 121, and Cameron Road from Highway 35 to City Road 8. Do we have any comments?
Again, I'm not super familiar with this area, so I'm relying on others for.
Yeah, it's a start, and if it works, I'm sure that in future years, people are going to say, well, why did you stop at Cameron Road? Why didn't you go over to Killarney Bay Road? That type of thing. I'm sure those questions will come, but without opening up the entire city, this is kind of building a block, because there's a couple of places they can cross. They could cross in, let me think now. Right now, if you go down Poles Road, it dead ends at 35. But if you look at the landscape there, what they've done is they cross the road there, and there's a trail on the other side of 35. Because Poles Road used to be a T intersection with 35 and 121, and you could pop over when they reallocate or moved 121, ATVers continued to go right straight through on Poles Road, where what used to be. So they're going over the bank. And if you actually take a drive out there and take a look, you can see where they cross the bank. That would hook in a major portion of the city west of 35. But as always, I'm curious. So does anybody have any comments?
My only comment would be we should check to see who owns that land that they're crossing, to make sure that the city owns it, or it's part of like the allowance there. I'm just looking at it on the map, and you can't tell on a map, but I just want to be sure it's not private property. That's all, that they're crossing somebody's private property.
All right, that's a good question.
So Pat, just for my clarity then, so Poles Road through to Ranchers Road, does that include then punching in through and over Highway 35 again?
Yeah, that's what they're doing there, Brian. Now, all the other roads we've talked about, there's a road, it's a T or it's a regular intersection. It's an X.
Yeah.
And at Poles Road, it used to be.
Oh, I'm familiar with the configuration and the modifications MTO performed there.
Yeah.
All that property is MTO land. But again, we're directing or permitting traffic to go through really an uncontrolled intersection in the middle of Highway 35. And I expect, whether we ask permission or not, MTO is going to have some concern with that if we don't.
I think you're probably right.
So
I agree.
I think that's a valid valid concern. So
why don't we make, once as we're going through this, why don't we make a list of these crossovers, and we can, in one request to the MTO, ask them their opinion on those crossovers.
Okay.
I think that's doing proper diligence. I agree with that.
Yeah. Rather than one at a time, let's look at the plan and see what their stance is on those crossovers.
And
go ahead, Jason.
So whoever's going to be making this notification or request to the MTO, I think they need to be careful in how they word it. We're not instructing people. We're not, as an advisory committee, we're not saying cross 35. Like in this situation, we're opening up Poles Road and then saying opening up Ranchers Road to access to ATVs. If the rider themselves chooses to cross over 35 to join those two, that's their own choice, and they're allowed to already under the Highway Traffic Act. We're not saying this is the trail, you have to drive this. And I think just in that notification, it'd be more of a notification just to say there may be increased ATV traffic due to the opening of Poles Road and Ranchers Road, or the opening of Sturgeon Road near Highway 7 kind of thing. Like I said, like we said before, this is already allowed. We're just opening up roads in the areas of this highway that are going to cause people to do what they're already essentially been allowed to do. And the only thing stopping them has been the fact that the roads leading up to the highway are closed.
So it's Brian, just to understand that. And I hear what you're saying, Jason, but when we say that we're opening Poles Road from Cameron Road to Ranchers Road, that includes crossing of 35.
Okay,
but
so
Poles Road doesn't continue past 35. So you can't open a road that's not there. Poles Road ends at 35. So you're only opening Poles Road from Cameron Road to 35. And then you're opening access on Ranchers Road. So they have to cross this no man's land of MTO because there's no road there.
Yeah, and it's really tough for us to say as a body to say that we're going to permit ATVs to use these roads and not expect them to drive across 35. Like I hear what you're saying, but it's somewhat an unrealistic expectation or communication. So again, I'll be the one ultimately reaching out to the MTO. And as long as we're clear on what sections of municipal road that we're proposing to permit ORVs or ATVs on, I can have that communication with them, but I'm not going to beat around the bush with semantics with respect to the legislation.
I'm not suggesting you do. I'm suggesting that you be very specific. We're not opening Poles Road across 35 because it doesn't cross 35. You're not.
No, and I hear that, Jason, but they're driving up. I hear that, Jason, but they're driving up Poles Road, and ultimately they're also driving up and down Ranchers Road, and we're suggesting that through our approval here that we're linking those two roads, and the only way to link those roads is to cross Highway 35 at an uncontrolled intersection, and that's the conversation that we need to have, and not to beat around the bush saying we're letting people drive along Poles Road, we're letting people drive around Ranchers Road, but we're not encouraging them to drive across Highway 35.
Okay, so let's just for today's conversation, because it's a contentious issue. I mean, once again, this is a trial period. What if we just remove that section completely and don't talk about Poles Road or Ranchers Road? So it would be Ranchers Road from City Road 121 to Long Beach Road from Highway 35 to County Road 121, and Cameron Road from Highway 35 to County or to City Road 8. So anybody that wants to access the trail from that part of the country, as far as we're concerned, would have to come down Cameron Road and make the crossing in Cameron. Does that work?
I think that's a fair adjustment at this point in time, especially being a trial period.
Okay. Go ahead, Don.
I just wondered if I could ask Brian a question. Being in the village of Omimi, Sturgeon Street South crosses to Sturgeon Street North and crosses Highway 7. But the city maintains some of the, does the plowing and the sanding and the cleanup of the highway. Does the highways have control of the village of Omimi now, or is that all onto the city of Kawartha Lakes, Brian?
No, so the MTO plows the highway. The city of Kawartha Lakes maintains sidewalks. That's typical through most communities. There is a former agreement for maintenance and so on through that, kind of a transfer authority. I can't remember the technical term for it right off the top of my head. But that's still not formal. It's not in limbo. It's kind of in limbo right now. And our development services group is continuing those conversations with respect to that.
Yeah, and the only reason I ask is I know Kawartha Lakes plows the city, and then they do their Highway 7 in the village, sidewalk to sidewalk, and then the city looks after the sidewalks also. So I was just curious. Thanks.
Okay, so what I currently have in front of me now is I have Poles Road from Cameron Road to Ranchers Road from City Road 121 to Long Beach. I'm sorry, try that again. Okay, so Ranchers Road from City Road 121 to Long Beach Road from Highway 35 to City. There we go again. City Road 121 and Cameron Road from Highway 35 to City Road 8. Does that work? All right.
I'm in agreement.
Okay, can I have a motion then? Moved by Carolyn. Seconded by Tracy. Any further comments? All those in favor? That motion's carried. And then the usual post-amble at the end of that, please, Brianne, and that'll be brought to council by staff at the first available meeting. Okay, now we've not had a discussion. I was hoping that, and we've had no public feedback either way. At our last meeting, we did not discuss the Janettville area connection to the Victoria Rail Trail. So it's wide opened, and the route that you have in front of us was the route that was suggested by, I guess, myself and Carolyn and Tracy. Carolyn and Tracy went out for a trip. They drove around. So they're recommending Golf Course Road from View Lake to St. Mary's Road. And that's a straight crossing once again over Highway 35. St. Mary's Road from Golf Course Road to Mount Orb Road. Mount Orb Road from Highway 35 to Highway 7. And if we're concerned about the the setback from 35. I mean, we can word it in whichever way we want, or we can say 100 meters east and west, whichever works the best. And River Road from Janetville to the golf course road.
Yeah, now this is a huge area for ATVs. I know that for a fact, just being out there, can't tell you how many times this summer and I see it. And right abutting to them is Skoogog, right? So they're crossing over constantly. For me, it's one that I want to bring in as a trial and a trial period just to see how it works out, just because there is such a huge participation in this area of this, but also it also depends on that MTO, feedback regarding 35 as well.
So I just have one question. The last one, River Road from Janetville to Golf Course Road. Do you mean coming from the village of Janetville to Golf Course Road? Is that what you're trying?
That's what I'm trying to say, yes.
Okay, so that's, so from Golf Course Road into the village, it's actually Janetville Road, not River Road. I just want to clarify that for.
Yeah, it is Janetville Road, yeah.
Okay. So it would be Janetville Road from Janetville to the golf course road.
Yeah. It becomes River Road at Golf Course Road heading north.
Okay, all right. That would be my mistake.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I just want to make sure it's worded properly, that's all.
Any further comments? Okay, so what I have is the recommendation is Golf Course Road from View Lake to St. Mary's Road. St. Mary's Road from Golf Course Road to Mount Orb Road. Mount Orb Road from Highway 35 to Highway 7, and the Janetville Road from Janetville to the Golf Course Road. And that this recommendation be brought forward at the first of it by staff at the first available meeting.
And
Go ahead.
again, sorry, go ahead.
Moved by Tracy.
Wait, Carolyn has something to say first.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and again, this would be one of the ones that we add to the list regarding crossing over Highway 35. It would be pending, that one piece, crossing 35, would be pending discussion with the MTO based on Brent's discussion.
I agree with that one as well. We need to add it to that list.
Are we good?
Yep. So I'll move it.
Moved by Tracy, seconded by Carolyn. All those in favor? And that motion's carried. All right. I'm at a loss for Bob Cajun, and that's why I've just got Bob Cajun. And I don't know what we want to do. I truly don't. I've chased this one around for months. I guess what our options are is we can make recommendations. There have been no recommendations that have actually had full debate at council. We've certainly had debates here. We have a choice of reintroducing those original motions where it was City Road 24 and City Road 17 coming up into Bob Cajun, and then all the various configurations. That would be one choice. Or the other choice is we can simply defer it, and that either before the task force, we're running out of time on the task force. We can either defer it, or we can wait for results of the current trial, and then the next council can deal it. Like, I would believe that if council passes the trail through Lindsay, and if the experience is a positive experience, then it would be a strong argument for a trail in Bob Cajun. I'm prepared if the task force wants to take it forward right now. I just don't know. I've got nothing to put on the table as far as what I'm recommending. Okay, go ahead, Carolyn.
My recommendation, what I would like to see us do today, after having done some research on the bylaws that exist, ATVs are already allowed on County Road 36 from Trent Lakes to Main Street in Bobcaygeon. It's already in the bylaw. So I would suggest that for just a trial period, if we can just get them to Front Street on Main Street, so not crossing over the bridges, but basically coming down Main Street to Front Street, that allows them to come into town and park and walk to restaurants. And I think for a trial period, I think that that's sort of a fair compromise to see how things go. It's only one street. And again, the County Road 36 is already open to Main Street. So that gets them gas at 36 and 49. And then if we can get them just down Main Street to Front Street, there's plenty of places to park and walk across the bridge to restaurants or stores or whatever else. And accommodations, there's accommodations right there, the Bobcaygeon Inn. So I think it solves a lot of issues for the trial period to get some data from it.
Okay, so just to help me out with my geography, I get confused. So if I'm north of the bridge, I'm on Main Street, and if I'm south, like I'm talking the main drag now. If I'm
so if you are at if you're crossing over the Trent Severn Bridge, that's closed, you're going to cross over, and then there's a little jog, and then you cross the second bridge. You know where there's that sort of roundabout kind of thing? That's where Main Street comes to.
Okay.
And Front Street. They basically almost sort of connect right there at the roundabout, what I call a roundabout.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, bring them to that roundabout on Main Street from County Road 36 out at the gas station. Bring them right to that roundabout. That allows them to a couple of accommodations, and again, park and walk across the bridge to restaurants, all that sort of stuff.
Jason, you're from that part of the country. What do you think?
Well, I'm not too familiar with what the requirement is here. I'm just trying to think of where Carolyn's saying to park. And I know there's like that grass here, like unless you're parking, I'm trying to picture down Front Street, like down at Gordon's Yacht Harbor. It's like the first places
anywhere that they can park anywhere that a car can park though, right?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. I think like they think you can start parking down around Gordon's, right?
Yep. Yeah.
It's unfortunate because there's that great big parking lot that, I mean, you go up there any day on any weekend, and it's already full of ATVs at Tim Hortons. The great big gravel section of their unused parking lot. I mean, it's full every weekend as it is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're just going to be allowing them to go one street short of where they're going to go anyway. Like if we turn them off at Front, they normally come down to Boyd Street anyway, cross the bridge, go down to Boyd Street and park at the Tim Hortons lot.
Okay.
Or in that empty lot down on Boyd Street, or right down by the locks on the grass. That's normally where I see them.
So does somebody want to craft a motion for me, please? Okay, I'll give it a shot. From the roads from recommended that the road from, or that access be granted on Front Street from City Road 36 to Main Street.
No, sorry, I can help you with it.
Yeah.
So to allow access on Main Street from City Road 36 to Front Street.
Okay.
Now, Front Street goes east and west, but I'm not sure where. So I'm that's the only clarification I'll need is whether they're going to Front Street East or Front Street West, because I'm not sure when it changes.
Front Street changes east to west right at Main Street.
Okay.
So it's Front Street West, heading west from Main Street, Front Street East, heading east from Main Street. So.
Okay, thanks, Brian.
Yes, they would need access from Front Street East. From 36 along Front Street East to Main.
No, I'm asking for access on Main Street from City Road 36 to Front Street.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. So not coming down 36 to Front.
No, just again, trial period, just to get them into town where they can park. There's accommodations. They can walk to the restaurants in 5 minutes, but we're not crossing the bridges where we have to get Trent Severn Waterway input and stuff yet. Like we're just not there yet.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Like I said, it's as it stands now on the weekends, there's a million of them on 36 already. So just allowing that, and I think they do it to avoid the town, to be honest, because they figure they're better off on 36 than to go through town. Because they all usually park at the Tim Hortons. So allowing them into town, maybe that'll encourage some more business in town and keep them off the highway.
Okay, Brianne, were you able to capture a motion out of that?
Yes, so I have Main Street from City Road 36 to Front Street East.
Period. Okay. Any further discussion on that motion? I haven't got a mover and a seconder yet, I don't think.
Nope, you don't.
Okay, so moved by somebody? Moved by Carolyn, seconded by Jason. All those in favor? And that motion's carried. We are flying right along here. Now, at the last council meeting, council passed a motion that the ORV task force use of city roads review and report back on a bylaw, on a bypass option for an ATV route around Lindsay linking to the north and south trails. And that bypass include a bridge crossing at Thunder Bridge Road. Now, that report has been done. I think I have to look it up. I think it was called the Jewel Report. So, I mean, this is a convoluted way of getting someplace. We're going to ask council to do what they're asking us to do, and then council's going to have to do it. I guess that's the. So, Brian, we have the report going back in 2009, and when I've read the report, it's a pretty concise report. So, what do you need from direction or request from the task force so that you can present that report to council?
I honestly don't know. The direction from council to review an alternate route to including that, a potential bridge crossing at the extension of Thunder Bridge. Again, it was already reviewed by staff in detail with a report to council. So likely council's unaware of that report. What I can easily do is just prepare a report back to council, including that report as an attachment, just to remind them of the information that's already been provided, and allow them to have further discussion of whether they want to pursue that or not.
Okay. Yeah. So what kind of motion would you need from us?
Again, so whether or not, I guess the cleanest way to do it would be to have the task force, support and endorse that, 2009 review and have that brought back to council for further consideration, perhaps.
Okay.
I don't know the cleanest way to handle that, but it's a little bit convoluted because it's already been brought forward and discussed, but I think we can do it that way.
Okay. Did you catch that, Brianne?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. All right, everyone has heard the motion that's on. You've all had a chance. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Well, don't you need a mover, a seconder first?
No. Yeah, I was just going to get. Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody's had a chance to review that report. It was included in your package. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Tracy, seconded by Carolyn. All those in favor? Okay, so that got us into 6.1. We've dealt with 6.1 to 6.7. We are coming very, very close to the end of our mandate. And what my anticipation is, when these reports get to council, they're going to either accept them or reject them. And unless they send something back to the task force for the task force to do, my opinion is our job's done. And that's just a discussion, because I think we've done what we were mandated to do, and I think our term of office comes to an end at the end of the year anyway. Carolyn?
So who then, because this is a trial period, who then would sit down and decide what the parameters are to gather data and come up with results and then review those results for the trial period? Like, we have to, if being a trial period, we have to somehow monitor the success or failure or the challenges and that sort of thing. So where does that fall in?
Okay, so I guess we're going to have one more meeting after this to make those decisions or to make those recommendations.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with that, Pat, because like this entire premise was, create connectivity by opening up some municipal roads so we can link to the trail system, and everything's based on a pilot project.
Yep.
So when we get the proper data, we can see if the project worked or it didn't work.
Yeah, or if adjustments have to be made or something like that. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think we just can't just say we're done.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good. I just didn't know where we wanted to go. So let's make that the topic of our next meeting. And everybody can put on their thinking hats. You got any comments, John, about that recommendation? Does that make sense to you? Okay. Well, that doesn't need a motion. That'll just be that's just a direction. And when we do the next agenda, that'll look after that. Peter, do you have any comments you want to throw in?
When we're saying we're going to monitor the complaints, negative complaints or positive complaints on these trial periods, or public complaints.
Yeah.
Or OPP complaints or Lakefield police complaints.
All right. Well, I guess we have to set up the parameters so that's and I won't be able to feed anybody anything. Everybody's going to have to come forward at the next meeting with their own interpretation of what monitoring means and how we should monitor and what we should monitor, because it's a brand new road for me to go down. So I'm going to need as much input as I can from everybody, and especially people like Brian and Jan. Jen's awful quiet, but I'm sure she'll have some information for us as to what we should be monitoring and how we should. So that'll be our agenda for next week, or for the next meeting, I should say. Go ahead, Don.
Yeah. So is it? I'm along the same lines, but I'm thinking that maybe council will have to pass a resolution, and depending on each member of the task force, to keep this task force running for a trial period.
They may, or they may decide to appoint an independent body. Okay. They may say to the task force, "Thank you very much for your input," and bring in a monitoring body of people that haven't been involved in the process. But we can certainly make recommendations to council as to what form that monitoring body takes, and then they can either, once again, they can accept our recommendations or reject them. But I think we should make recommendations as to what should be monitored and the manner in which it could be monitored. And then council can appoint, if they wish, a new task force. We've done that before with our pandemic relief groups, where when it came time to disperse monies, they brought in new members of the task force, or new members into that committee to make recommendations as far as monetary disbursements. But I think, now that's been brought up, I think it's a good idea that we make recommendations and then council can make a decision as to who sits on the committee and what we're going to monitor.
Yep.
But I think at our next meeting, we've all got to come with our guns loaded so that we know what we're going to recommend should be monitored. I'm sorry, Brian, I missed you. I heard a little bit.
Sorry, I didn't say anything, Pat. I was on mute.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, and I agree with you, Pat. I mean, any project, any trial, any program like this, you need to see the data, because you need to see the results. You need to see what's working, what's not working, where decisions have to be made after that data is collected. So I think that's great that you're, putting it out there for us to put on our thinking hats and come back to the next meeting and, determine what those parameters are.
Jason, go ahead. Oh, okay. I saw the wave. Does anybody else want to offer any question or any opinions? Next meeting, let's leave it with me for a week and then I'll get a hold of everybody and we'll find out what a good date is. The first week of November is a bad date for me. I'll put that right out there. I'm coming out of the camp on November the 2nd, but I would just as soon not have any other meetings besides that one. So it'll be sometime after that, if that works. And I'll get Brianne to send out a meeting request. Just going around the board, does anybody else have anything they want to offer before I ask for a motion to adjourn? Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn? Moved by Carolyn, seconded by Tracy. Motion to adjourn. All those in favor? Motion's carried. Thank you very much for your participation and your time. I truly appreciate it and have a great weekend. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Jen.